To know where you're headed, you gotta know where you've been. That's a great saying. Basically, when you look at the past of one of our most intriguing toys, Randy Gregory, you've seen um, the groundwork for what his um, career could look like. You've seen the potential, the traits, uh, the fundamentals, things that pretty much projected him to being one of the early favorites or top prospects in the 2015 draft. When you look at the similarities we have with him and Micah Parsons, they both pretty much had 2 years at their position on the college level. Um, Gregory did attend JUCO, but he he played 2 years at Nebraska. Um, when you look at some of the traits and some of the um, analysts, what they say about him based off of what they seen from him in his junior year and sophomore year, they pretty much pictured him as being a 3-4 linebacker, edge guy, with the potential to put his hand in the ground on running downs, and that's pretty much what he transitioned to until when he came to the Cowboys. Now, if you look at the glimpse of everything we seen in his early career, we know he missed games. But if you look at the games that he played and then the stats he put up, you have to get excited knowing that he hasn't had a full offseason since his junior year at Nebraska. Every year has been something keeping him from being around the Cowboys, keeping him from practicing, keeping him from suiting up, from being active for starting. It was just always something in his path that he had to get over, get through, and he's done it. You know, to actually get to this point now, 2021 May, this offseason will be his first time not missing a practice, a snap, a workout, a one-on-one drill, things that um, catapult these athletes into being one of the best in their position. When you wake up out the bed, like other YouTubers say, when you wake up out the bed and you just easily go get a couple sacks and get things without necessarily mastering and converting the energy into your craft. To you have to understand, like when you look at one of my favorite movies, He Got Game, when in the scene where he was basically practicing with his son. He was putting his son through drills, and he was saying, "Man, it's only two people up right now, you and Michael Jordan." That's the type of mentality you need to have when you're a competitive athlete. You have to understand that everyone is trying to take your spot, no matter what, no matter where you are. At some point in time, it's going to be a challenger ready to take that role, and you have to defend it. You have to honor the competition factor. That's what makes art and the art of competitiveness. That's what makes that so honored and respected, because it's you have to put your all into defending whatever you work so hard for. So when you look at someone like Randy Gregory, where a lot of that was halted because of the trouble he was going. He kept going to the principal's office. He couldn't stay out of trouble. Teachers kept writing him up, putting him in school suspension, and it was things that he couldn't really get through. But now, when you look at the positive and knowing that as clear water arise, man, you have to understand. I'm more excited to see him on the field and how the addition of the draft picks and the guys they brought in free agency, how they incorporate and make his job easier. so he can in turn make others' jobs easier. Because people don't understand, man. Like, this guy is an every down player, every down. Like, you can look back even with last year. Last year, he was one of the main bright spots on our defense as our defense started to roll on and pick up the energy and basically allowed us to pretty much see what our defense could be. Even though in the first few weeks we weren't shit, to be honest. Like, we couldn't do anything. But as even with anything you do in life, as you keep doing it, the routine is helping you approach it to where you're more comfortable. You don't have to put in as much work, you know what I mean? Because that's the great thing about the human body and the mind. The more you do something, the better you get at it. So when you start looking at things like adding all these new pieces in, and now you start to see a lot of these players showing up for OTAs and things of that nature, a lot of voluntary camps. You see things like Dak Prescott showing up. You know what I mean? So when you see like the main players showing up to voluntary camp, why aren't you showing up? You know what I mean? How are you not? Why aren't you showing up? And why aren't you as serious and dedicated as the main guy? So I'm glad that he showed up, and I'm glad that other people follow suit. But as far as just Dan Quinn and the defense and what we're trying to do, Quinn's a D-line guy. You know what I mean? So his main focus is to build that up. And I think that is going to be so important to Randy Gregory, because now there's not only does he get a full tour, a full off season with whoever, you know what I mean? He's getting that from one of the best coordinators in the league as far as getting the best out and making their job being able to be communicated between the coach and the player. Like, that communication is going to be very key, and I think that's the difference between Quinn and other people, is that he's able to communicate what he wants the players to do at a more simple or more simpler term or a way of doing things. And I think that's the difference between what you get with Quinn and other coordinators. And I think just having that system around Gregory, someone that is just like, oh man, it feels like he's still a rookie. Like maybe a second year guy. It just feels like it just feels like he hasn't scratched his surface and he hasn't reached his potential yet. We still don't know who he is. And if you compare him to some of the other guys at his position that came out that year, you pretty much would say he's probably second, you know what I mean, as far as peak or able to have the best career going forward, even the here and now. And I think that's just because there was I'm having a brain fart. I can't think of the guy's name, but a Clowney. That was it. So Clowney and Gregory came out the same year. Now you can argue that Clowney is a better pro at this point. And you could be right, you know, based off the simple fact that Clowney hasn't been completely clean, but he's been more available than Gregory. And the best ability is availability. So that's fine. But a lot of the other guys that got drafted ahead of him, they're not as like the potential factor isn't there anymore, because they pretty much had every aspect to be successful in the NFL. But when you see Gregory, man, and it's like he came into the league at 235. Like, there's no way he's 235 now. If you look at this dude now, man, he remind me of the Super Shredder in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, the second one, when they were fighting after that vanilla ice scene. And they were fighting under the bridge, and he took the ooze, and you know what I mean. He just started breaking down the poles, and the bridges was falling and collapsing like that. That's what he looks like, man. And it's like I don't know the official weight on Randy Gregory, but just saying how much he grew and what he's able to do now, man. I want to see his playing weight, man. How much he's listed at now, because I think the whole time he's been suspended, man, he just been eating and gaining weight and whatever he's eating in Dallas, man. I know they got Whataburger and the different restaurants, but I just see him bulking up, man, and still keeping that same bend, that same 4.6 speed. And I think, man, just this year going forward, man, I think this will be his best year, and I think he's going to continue to lay down that foundation to eventually be a Pro Bowl player, man. He has Pro Bowl potential written all over him. And I think with them not bringing back certain players like Alden Smith and not really addressing the right end position in the draft or in free agency, it's letting us know that, man, this is his time. The Cowboys are giving him the keys to start at that position, and I think the league is going to have to really wake up and realize that we might have one of the best pass rusher, run stopping combos in the league with Tank and Gregory. So when you mix that in with the other positions, with the linebackers and the new age, the new tech, the new type, the new hybrid linebackers that we have, man, the defense is going to be way different, man. I'm telling you guys. Not only do I think we will bounce back in the run game, but I think this will be one of the best pass defensive teams that we have ever had in Cowboys Nation. We haven't had a great pass defense in a very long time, and I think with just everything we're doing now, we're gearing up to be in the right direction, man. So I'm gonna call it, man. I'm 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 buying that Gregory's gonna have 8+ sacks this year. I'm going to give him at least 10 tackles for a loss. Um, I think he's going to be at least top two in quarterback pressures for the Cowboys, and I think he's gonna cause a few turnovers, whether it's interceptions or fumbles, strip sacks. I'm going to give him at least four, 3 to 4 forced turnovers. So go ahead, man. Let me know what y'all think about Gregory and what his stat line may look like and how much improvement you see him making going forward. If you ever see him making a Pro Bowl or anything like that, man, I'm very excited to see what you guys think about Gregory and his potential to be one of the best right ends in the league, man. Because like he since day one, since he left Nebraska, and since he entered the draft, he's been raw, man. The ability's been there, and everything that they seen as far as his traits, all the positive traits that he displayed in college. Mostly everything he's done, he's been doing in the league, man. Like if you look at everything they noticed in his game that he was good at in college, you see that translate very well in the NFL, and that's without having a consistent coach and a consistent training program, getting him stronger, getting his mind ready, man. So I think the best is yet to come, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless. Peace.